Hello and welcome back to the Ordinary Wrestling and another edition of NXT Out of 10. And following a wild New Year's Eve, the January 9th edition of NXT featured a tag title match and the start of the men's Dusty Cup Classic. And yeah, we also had the tag title on the line with OTM taking on the family. But we started things off with a bit of a grudge match that goes long back. Nikita Lyons and Blair Davenport, and they were feuding and brawling in their parking lot before the show. The fight continued as Stowe began, starting the match early, while Lyon used her strength to throw around Davenport. The heel caught her rival with a chop block in the ropes, followed by a pair of short arm knee strikes for the win. A solid battle that showed Lyons is picking up where she left off. She and Davenport have chemistry to explore that could be more apparent in a longer and more competitive match. Instead, it ended up being 5 minutes, and perhaps the highlight, Lyons needs to get more time to get things right before she can make Davenport pay. This is the right time to keep the Survivor winner's momentum. She needed the win here more than Lyons, who will get it back if there's another match down the line. But yeah, in this kind of the storyline with Lyons being taken up so long, you thought she would win, but no, I think maybe the right decision. But I think we could have a longer, better rematch with maybe a different role. So I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. Better, good, but could be better. But moving on into the Dusty Classic, Gallows taking on the odd couple team of Breaker and Corbin. They struggled for synergy in the early part, but still protected each other throughout. Breaker speared Wolfgang to set up Corbin for the end of the days on Mark Coffey to win. After a short opener, the battle went overly long, but it was an engaging showcase, especially for Braun. He looked like he was working to a different level to everyone else. The 14s worked a solid, hard-hitting match, but yeah, showcase kind of lost value of Gallows compared to some of the other teams who have held the belts. Since its inception, the Classic has struggled to highlight the complete tag division, putting together makeshift tandems in the tournament. This continues this year with the likes of Corbin and Breaker. It hurts the credibility of established teams like Gallows that lost those teams as well. Hopefully, the ultimate plan is not for Breaker and Corbin to win, although we could tell a great story together, but I'm not just quite sure where we're going yet. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 on the whole. Next up on NXT, Lyra Valkyrie announced that Battle Royal next week will determine a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match to see who she would face at Vengeance Day. Lola Vice and Lecture Lopez interrupted, and Valkyrie challenged Vice to cash in her title shot. Instead, Lopez and Vice attacked the Valkyrie until Pixie made the save. As a partial developmental brand, NXT does occasionally deliver promo segments like this. It's good practice for Valkyrie and Vice, but never seemed all that comfortable delivering the back and forth in front of a quiet crowd. Vice is still learning in this stage of his career, and yeah, probably needs to improve to become a serious threat. However, a solid tag team match next week with Valkyrie and Paxi against Vice and Lopez. I think, yeah, well, it's a good preview of the Women's Dusty Classic, which you presume that we'll get quite soon. Before it's time for our next match, Josh Briggs against Oro Mensah. Noah Dar tried his best to keep Mensah in this match, but could not slow Briggs down when he hit the running clothesline for the W. It was a complete squash match that made complete sense. The big man's trying to establish himself as a centre-back and had a bone to pick with Mensah. He needed the win with dominance, and it sets up a rematch for the Scottish Supernova for the Heritage Cup match sooner rather than later. Metaphor cannot catch many breaks, but they are insane enough to make up for a rash of losses. Griara is a great veteran to push Briggs up the ranks in NXT, and yeah, I really like to see Briggs capture the Heritage Cup. From what I've seen from him so far, I've been really impressed. And I think, yeah, Dar's got to the point where he doesn't need the belt anymore. So, yeah, it would definitely be elevating for him. So, yeah, I think that's the direction I would go. But on the whole, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, I think. Before it's time for the family versus OTM. And after a dramatic battle, the family got some help from Rizzo that took scripts out. Challenged Dax Lorenzo, blasted Bronco Nima outside world. Tony D hit Forget About It on Lucian Price for the win. OTM may not have the most varied moveset, but they will deliver exciting matches. They pushed the family with multiple memorable near falls, and this match hit top gear. This is likely the best these teams can do together, so there's little reason to go back to it. OTM will need to regroup and find a fresh rivalry. The family with Rizzo should stay on top for a while. I think, yeah, they're one of the most capable performers, and I think, you know, the storytelling work they do as well is really strong. So yeah, I thought this was undoubtedly the strongest thing we've seen on NXT up to that point, and yeah, it gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Before it's time for our match, which was Cora Jade versus Gigi Dolin. Cora Jade grabbed the referee to save herself and then planted Gigi with the Jaded for the win. It was quite flat, this one, to be honest. Dolin's lost much of her credibility with flat 2023 booking and it hardly looks a serious threat to Jade. The action just lacked highlights with a slow pace over just 4 minutes. It was fine for what it was, though, particularly another win for Jade, who is most likely to become the top contender to Valkyrie and her mates. However, Jade still needs to open up her moveset to hang with the top woman, especially if she's going to be facing Lyra at PLE, which you imagine we will. So yeah, I don't think this match really clicked. Probably had more potential, but yeah, just for many different reasons. Didn't quite reach it fully. It wasn't bad or anything, but yeah, it wasn't great. Didn't really stand out. I'll give it 6 out of 10. Before we got another Dusty Classic, Fraser and Axiom, another old couple tag team taking on Hank and Tank. Of course, they look great early on the actual team, but Axiom wiped out Hank with a running knee to set up the Phoenix Splash from Fraser for the win. Hank and Tank were the highlight of this match, showcasing their synergy and unique power moves together. Fraser and Axiom look like two exciting individuals in comparison. For that reason, I think the wrong team probably run, but Fraser and Axiom obviously have chemistry with their similar moveset. So, it could potentially transition to long term. If these teams wants to fight again with more time, I think it would be really strong as well, because, the talent they've all got is ridiculous. So yeah, I wouldn't like to see it again. I thought it was a decent match, maybe the wrong result, but I thought it was. I got it 6 out of 10. And then we got our main event, Dragon Lee taking on Lexus King for the title. Lexus King didn't look ready for Dragon Lee here, who was impossible to stop. Luchador put him away with Destination Dragon. Obafemi then headed to the ring to cash in his breakout contract and took Dragon out with an elevated powerbomb to claim the North American title. Dragon v King was a good match, but the real goal was set up the surprise cash in. It's a huge endorsement for the new champ. Femi's barely gotten started in NXT, but it seems the stalling was just to give the big man his best spotlight to shine. He looks like an unstoppable force with this kind of booking. Dragon did what he could to stop him, but yeah, I think it makes sense for him to have a transitional reign and go back to SmackDown where he's shined so far. However, the goal was always to give it someone like Obafemi. It was exciting and pretty unforgettable. And yeah, I think we could go with a really long, promising reign for Obafemi. Loving the booking for him so far since he won the breakout tournament. Loving what they're doing with him as well. So yeah, it gets 7 out of 10 for me. This was great stuff. Really excited to see what he can do. And yeah, kind of massively improved my mood. I've always thought it was a bit of an underwhelming main event with Lexus King in it. Overall, this week's NXT gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, what was it? Not a terrible NXT, but I think just a middling one before the main event. Really improved with that shock title change. Really enjoyed that. I think lots of storylines in NXT with potential. Maybe didn't quite reach the top level this week, but on the whole, a pretty solid show, an enjoyable week. And I think, we're building up nicely towards Vengeance Day. Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.